A warm welcome to everybody who is connected on this live stream from around the world. I'm so excited to be here. I want to first begin with two quotes that really moved me, and I want to share these two quotes with you. And it's by an iconic legend whom you all love, I'm sure, no doubt. It's one and only Maya Angelou. And the first quote reads like this: "A woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. She goes where she will without pretense and arrives at her destination prepared to be herself and only herself." I want you to think about that. And the next one is, "If you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be." And I'm going to be elaborating more on that. So hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the founder and CEO of Women Empowered Global, and I'm also the president of the African Women Leadership Forum, which is a mentoring and online leadership building platform. And the slogan really resonates with this fabulous conference today, because even the slogan we spoke at the African Women Leadership Forum reiterates the necessity and how pivotal it is to build our women today for a better economic promise across African countries for our tomorrow. Our slogan is empowering African women today to increase their leadership potential for a better tomorrow. And you may have seen the quote that I gave for the event, which is, "A nation with strong women represents a strong economy." So you talk about the strength of a nation, you can't discount the strength of the women that make it. So we know why it must be done. I also want to focus on the how. So through our initiative, through AWLF, there were two elements that I understood that really contributed to supporting that shift. The two elements that we focus on to equip her, to encourage her, to empower her is this. Number one, how can we build her capacity? Let's build capacity. Number two, how can we instill in her unshakable confidence? Unshakable confidence. We're looking at capacity, we're looking at confidence. So to date, since 2018, we have provided leadership training and mentoring for hundreds of women across Africa. And some of the things that I want to highlight that we stress upon is from things how to run a business, how to gain new customers, cash flow management, importance of professionalism, the importance of self-discipline. You can't have success without self-discipline. People forget that. And I also mentor women about confidence, consistency, and another C starts with communication skills for business and personal growth. And all of these things I just told you, these are vital assets to build a solid foundation for a better income and better business. And today we have people connected on this live feed from around the world. So I also want to quickly take us through what are these key challenges for women in Africa. We want to talk about advancing them. And I'm going to talk about the solutioning, and you're going to hear more about that from the others as well. But let's also first understand the big picture stuff. Let's discuss it as well. Because like Hazel said, we want to speak to government. We want to speak to CEOs. We want to see how stakeholders can support this. We're coming together. Let's start with the battle for equality for African women. Limited workforce participation, high unemployment, economic exclusion with no access to or control to their economic and financial resources, lack of financial stability, limited participation in political and public life. We need the voices of women in politics. We need the voices of women in peacemaking decisions, in peace tables. Then gender imbalance in decision making. And not only in Africa, not only the 55 countries, women in leadership are underrepresented around the world. But we are seeing the shift. I love Dr.Remi as a beautiful scenario as she explained. she, with an MBA, how she achieved that seat on the table. Even myself, a lot of the times in the rooms in my multinational career where I was the only woman in the room. But it is possible. It is doable. And I will share more about that. I also want to talk about the impact of COVID on women right now, because we want to look at about advancing women in Africa in leadership. We cannot avoid talking about the impact of COVID. Very quickly, UN Women had published an article that the economic impacts of COVID are hitting women harder. 74% of women in Africa are engaged in the informal economic sector: street vendors, domestic workers, professional women in the service, tourism, and hospitality sectors, also doing contributions in the farming sector, agriculture. So these are very huge, vital streams of the economy. And also these areas have typically been impacted by COVID. And also, I'd like to bring to this meet something close to my heart. I also want to quickly touch and go on the future leaders, because we want to talk about a sustainable game plan to advance women in Africa. What about the girl child? This would be incomplete as a conversation if we don't also consider how we can raise strong, confident girls today, African girls today, who are going to be the strong women in the nations tomorrow. How can we, as CEOs, as stakeholders, come together to be proactive? How can we create a pipeline, a generation of future female African leaders who can take Africa to the next growth journey? So how can we advance women in leadership in Africa? Again, I want to cite Dr.Remi. She said, it's not a talk show, it's an action show. Dr. Remi, I absolutely love that, because I believe in that 100%. It's an action show, absolutely. How could we build an equitable space that recognizes the value and the dignity of women, that respects her freedom to fulfill her potential? It's a human right. It's a basic human right. We need to address these narratives of what it truly means to advance women leadership in Africa. What does this mean? How can we make it an equitable and unbiased environment for her to feel safe, for her to feel ready to grow her potential? How can we help break down barriers and create more inclusive opportunities in our community, in our supply chain, in our distribution, and in our society at large? So again, the question is, how can we advance women leadership in Africa? I came across a beautiful quote by a powerful African lady. Her name is Dr. Julian Adieri Omala. She is the CEO of Duyile Uganda Limited. That's one of Africa's fastest growing women-owned businesses, right? And she says, we need to encourage women to believe in themselves and that it is possible for them to come out of poverty. What is that telling us? Where is it starting? It's starting here, and it starts here. It starts here, and it starts here. Like I said, build her capacity and build that unshakable confidence. World Bank had said boosting women's productivity, earnings, and market inclusion is an accelerated way for economic recovery. I'm just going to quickly cite this. To support economic recovery in every region, business competitions and soft skill trainings could help women-owned businesses and firms bounce back. Business plan competitions. It has been a proven thing in addressing capital constraints and encouraging investments as great examples. Another thing, in Togo, they have initiated this thing called personal initiative training, which helps women entrepreneurs to focus on being proactive and demonstrate perseverance as attributes. And when they did this training called personal initiative training, it's a special type of training as opposed to traditional training for small business owners. In Africa and Togo, they did this. And they found, as a result of personal initiative training, which is focusing on helping women be proactive, helping them persevere, not give up, self-discipline, consistency, those are the things that I focus on. It helped women increase profits by 40%. That's a result right there. That's bottom line. So how can we advance women in leadership in Africa? How can we change narratives that are currently stifling her potential, her opportunities? So very quickly, number one, economic empowerment. I'm talking about entrepreneurship, SME support, I'm talking about giving land or home ownership. I love how Hazel touched that on one of my global events. Absolutely right. Give her that control of land and property. Career advancement, skill acquisition, access to global markets. There are women in my African Women Leadership Forum. They're like, Senela, I have this particular product. I want to trade. I want to get this across. Help me with the network. How can we facilitate the trade? Scaling up successful jobs, career succession planning. How does that look like in an unbiased way for women in Africa? Favorable trade policies. Number 2, education. What are we talking about? Access to technology. Technology is a growth sector. There are certain countries that are thriving in Africa with regards to technology. We have brilliant people who are all African people who are working in homegrown hackathons around technology, around artificial intelligence. The world is looking in, global leaders are looking in, and they're looking at the economic potential of the African human capital. So let's harness that, let's invest in that. Legal protection for the woman, decision-making power for the woman, leadership skill development, children and youth care. We can't talk about empowering women advancing in leadership without looking at enabling and also addressing childcare for her family and quality childcare. And finally, self-care. Self-care, I'm talking about empowering her with a positive mindset. And if I'm speaking to women right here connected from Africa, I'm telling you, self-care has helped me and so many of the other women around the world who have become successful, is believing in yourself. Self-care, positive mindset, stand up for your right, be assertive, know who you are, believe in yourself, like the Maya Angelou quote I told you, right? Know your potential, use your struggle, and see how you can use that as momentum for your growth. Access to healthcare, access to facilities, a sense of autonomy, let her feel that autonomy, aligned autonomy, self-determination, and self-confidence. So something that we focus on heavily on the African Women Leadership Forum is the networking piece, the self-confidence piece, and the self-care piece. Self-empowerment, self-impact. What can we do? How can I shift from talk show to being an action show? An action taker as an individual. And finally, I want to leave you with this beautiful quote by someone we all love, and that is Michelle Obama. And she says, the difference between a broken community and a thriving one is the presence of women who are valued. Wow. So let that resonate with you as it has resonated with me. And I wish all of you all the very best. Thank you.